A Patreon messaged me with a problem I know many of us have faced. The poor man's cover call he had done had gone deep in the money. Now he was faced with the decision, should I roll my long-term call option out and up, or should I just let it ride? And here you see his exact question for me on Discord. And this is the reason why I decided to make this video for you. He asked, in a tax-deferred account, should I roll my LEAPS call option out now to capture gains and use more leverage? Or should I hang on to the current position and maybe just set a trailing stop? So in this video, I'm going to answer his question. I'm going to answer the question for you. When is the right time to roll the long call portion of your poor man's cover call? But first, before I do that, I want to get your thoughts. When do you roll the long call portion of your poor man's cover calls? Do you base it on delta, the technicals, days to expiration, or is it just a gut instinct? Thank you for sharing your strategy. Now let me share with you my thoughts on a poor man's cover call I'm in right now in Nvidia to help you see how I make that decision of when is the best time to roll the long call. Let me talk you through this chart so you get the lay of the land of this poor man's cover call I'm in Nvidia. I'm then going to share with you my exact position as well as my profit and loss in this position up to today. Then I'm going to talk you through my decision process I've been going through recently to decide if I should roll this poor man's cover call out now or wait till later. So first, lay of the land. So you see the daily chart of Nvidia. Now this date here, February 3rd, that's the day I entered a poor man's cover call in Nvidia. And this is a position where I've actually been sharing all my trades with all my Patreon members, including the free ones. So if you'd like to follow along with me on this poor man's cover call, go ahead and subscribe to my Patreon group, if anything, just as a free member. All right, so here we go. We entered this poor man's cover call on February 3rd. And just so you know, today is Thursday, June the 12th. We've been in this poor man's cover call for a little over 4 months. Notice what's happened to Nvidia's stock price during that time. It's really been on a big roller coaster. I reflected the percentage moves for each leg. Here it was up 21%, down 23, up 16, down 27, up 30, down 13, and now in this recent leg, it is up 50%. I mean, it's been wild. As you're gonna see in just a minute on my Excel spreadsheet, we've been collecting nice premium the whole time. But overall, the stock is up over 20% during this time frame. Currently, I'm long the 100 strike price longer term call option. I'm short the 120 nearer term call option strike price. You see, not only is my $100 long call option pretty deep in the money by about $40, but the short call option is also deep in the money by about $20. And just so you get an overall picture for this whole position, here's a snapshot of my Excel spreadsheet for Nvidia. What I've done is when I was preparing for this video, I inputted the value of that long call option here as if it were to close it out, even though I'm not closing it out. But that way you see overall profit and loss for this position. Now let's dig into that question. Should I roll the long call portion of this poor man's cover call out now or wait till later? Here you see the snapshot of this poor man's cover call, as well as a bullish put credit spread position I've been selling against Nvidia as well. Let's focus here on our poor man's cover call. It's these top two lines here. So I own the January 16th of 2026 100 call. Remember that call is in the money by about $40. And I'm short the July 18th $120 call. If I slide myself over here, you see that July 18th 120 call option expires in about 36 days. And here's my thought process, because before my Patreon asked me that question, I was actually considering, should I roll this long call option out now or wait till later anyways? So it's the perfect time to address this position in this question. So up top, we have our $100 long-term call option. Notice two things here. Notice what my delta is first of all. My delta is at 0.889, it's about 89, and theta is about 0.03. Now just below that, we have the short near-term call option I've sold against that longer-term call option. Notice that the delta of that short near-term call option is actually higher than the delta of my long call option. So what does that mean? Well, it means that if Nvidia were to keep going up, I actually would lose a little bit of money in this position for each dollar that Nvidia goes up, because the value of my long call, it'll only go up by about 88.9 cents per dollar, whereas the value of that short call I've sold will go up about 91.3 cents for each dollar that Nvidia goes up. But I do still have theta or time decay in my favor. The value of that short near-term call option will lose about 5 cents per day, and the value of my long call option, it'll only lose about 3 cents per day. So the question is this the right time to roll my long-term call option? I have a nice gain in it, as you see here, $1,444. That shouldn't be what my decision is based on. It should be based on the overall position. Is this a good time to roll? And I actually need to answer that question for you by looking at several factors. And the first one, to me probably the most important, is the chart. So let's look at the chart of Nvidia to see, is this the right time to roll? Now overall, we see Nvidia is in a very strong uptrend right now. It's up 50% over just the past couple months. but it has been going up at a pretty strong rate. Notice the slope of this trend line that I drew yesterday. Now I want to ask myself, is this move sustainable? In other words, will the slope of this trend continue to be this steep? One way to decide that is look at the other increases in price in the recent history. Have they been this steep? So what I've done here with this little line here is I've measured the slope of Nvidia's recent increase in price. I'm comparing against other increases in price recently. Notice that sometimes it's less steep. For example, like this one right here, notice the increase in price is less steep. And if I go over here to the far left side, notice that again, it's less steep than some of Nvidia's price moves. But its biggest price move is back here on the left side of the chart. And notice that it was about the same steepness of its current move. So how far did it move during that increase and during that run up in price? I'm going to measure against the length of the move back in here. Notice when it had that big run up about a year ago, the move actually was a little bit farther than where it is now. This is the current length of our move now, and the move actually went up a little bit more. So that tells me there is possibly still room for Nvidia to go up, which would coincide with my technical analysis. You see, I believe Nvidia has the potential to go up in price all the way to this white line, which is just above these highs from back in here. That about coincides with the remaining length of this move back last year. It then had a pretty fast and sharp decline of over 10%. So here's my thoughts on Nvidia. I have the potential for it to go up in price to about $158 per share or so. But I'll then expect it to retrace possibly down to about where it was yesterday, about around $145, $148. But I do still overall believe that Nvidia is in a bullish uptrend and has the potential to trade up or possibly sideways over the next month or so. So if I zoom in here, we're now going to address the question, well, when might it get to that $158 per share? So we still have the same slope of this trend line here. So let's just measure it out. Following the same trend line, about how long will it take to get there? Well, TC2000 is estimating about 17.7 days, or about 11 trading days. So we'll just say about 2.5 weeks. Now, of course, as bad news comes out in the market, then that move may not happen. But if it continues on the same pace of the price increase we've seen over the past couple of months, it should get to 158 in about 3 weeks or so. And just for a buffer, you may want to say a week or two before that or a week or two after that. So I got my expected move down. I expect Nvidia, as long as no news comes out to shock the market, I expect that Nvidia will continue to go up in price. Is that good for my current position? Well, not really, because my short call option will go up in value faster than my long call option. And as the stock price for Nvidia continues to go up, that delta will get higher and higher as compared to the delta of my long-term call option. So I don't really like that. And because of that, as you see here, I have an order out there trying to roll my short call option up as I roll it out. Now I'm using rolling my put option as well to help fund that, but that's my goal, is to get my short call option rolled up and out. Now, this trade does not involve my long call. We'll get to that in just a minute. Here you see I'm trying to buy back that July 18th 120 call. I'm trying to sell the August 15th 130 call. Then to help fund rolling that short near-term call option up by $10, I'm rolling my short put option. So right now I am a little bit concerned with Delta here because it's not in my favor, but it's not way out of whack. So right now Delta's going against me by about $2 total for each dollar that Nvidia goes up, but I do still have Theta on my side. So overall, I still feel good about this position. But here's what the voice inside my head is asking me. Randy, should we roll this long-term call option out now? Should we just liquidate the position, or should we just stay with it and see what happens? There's a couple other factors I want to consider here. First of all, we have earnings, because Nvidia can really move a lot through earnings, or it may go nowhere. The problem isn't if it goes nowhere, the problem is if it goes way up in price. Now we're good on earnings right now because the short call option I've sold expires in July. Earnings are not expected until towards the end of August. So we have time, so that's not a problem. But if Nvidia's where it's at now and the position looks similar to where it's at now, I definitely want to get my short near-term call option up before earnings. Here are the questions I ask myself to decide what I'm going to do with my long call option. As you saw, I'm trying to roll my short call option up as I roll it out. But for my long call, the first question is, what's going on with momentum? And actually, I was preparing for this video yesterday where you see this red candle right in here. And today the market hasn't opened yet. We're still about an hour or two before the market opens. But it looks like Nvidia will open down for the day. And we'll see where the day takes it. But right now, we're still in a nice bullish uptrend. We're making higher highs, we're making higher lows, so everything still looks really bullish. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if it came down to retest this support right in here around $137. But right now, we're still looking very bullish. So momentum, although it's slowing temporarily, overall, it doesn't look like it's coming to a screeching halt. I still think if nothing else changes, we're aiming for $158 here in the next month or so. Now, the next question is, are we at resistance? Well, actually, yesterday we were at resistance. Notice it was the high from this candle right in here. And that's one reason why Nvidia found resistance there. The next resistance would be up here around $150 per share. Then the one above that will be around $153 per share. So we do have some resistance, which actually might work in our favor when it comes to the short call option. And the reason for that is that we're totally covered on delta as far as that short call option. If Nvidia goes down, that short call option will lose about 91 cents per share for each dollar that Nvidia goes down. But our long call option, it'll only lose about 89 cents per share. Then we still have Theta working in our favor because that short call option that expires in about a month to a month and a half, it'll lose value faster than a long call option. So actually overall, a little decline here will work out in our favor. Now let's see what it would look like if I did roll my long call option out and rolled it up. And that could be nice because I could lock in some gains. So you have a gain here of $1,444 on my long call option. But is that the right move? So remember, we own the January of 2026 100 call option. When I do poor man's cover calls, I usually like to buy the about 70 delta call option that expires at least a year or 2 years in the future. So if we looked at the option that expired a year later than the one I own, that'd be the January of 2027 call option. Where would that 70 delta place us? Which call option strike price would be at that 70 delta? Where you see the 135 call option, it's right at a 70 delta. It's at 0.698. So I'd be good doing that one. How much could I pocket if I rolled this call option up and out? What you see here, we could get around $49 per share for the one that I own. Then if you look at the January of 2027, you notice it'll cost us around $39.75 or so for that call option. So overall, if you do the math, I'd pocket about $9.27 per share, or $925 for rolling this call option up and out. So is that the right move? If I thought Nvidia was going to go down in price a lot, then I might consider rolling it. But since I have this short near-term call option that's protecting my long-term call option, then I also might consider waiting. As long as I see Nvidia's in a decline, I'm definitely going to wait because I'm cushioned by that short near-term call option I've sold. Theta's not only working in my favor, but delta is also working in my favor if Nvidia declines. But if I reach a point where the short near-term call option's delta is lower than the delta of my long call option, then at that point, if I believe Nvidia might continue to go down in price, I probably like to go ahead and roll that long-term call option out. And I like his question about leverage, because one of the things that options can do for you is give you leverage, but you want to use that leverage properly. And that's what we're doing here. We're leveraging this short call option to protect our long call option. But if I think Nvidia will continue to go down in price and delta is lower on the short call option than the one I own, at that point I might want to roll over to a lower delta option, which would be this January of 2027 135 call option. So the three things I consider to help me decide when is the right time to roll a long call option that's a part of a poor man's cover call, first of all, would be Theta. Then I also consider delta of the overall position, as well as delta of my long call versus my short call. And the final thing is what's going on with the chart. What do I think the underlying stock will be at in the next month or two? At this point for me, because Theta's in my favor and the stock chart still looks good, delta is the most important factor that I'm watching right now. So right now, it's a watch and wait situation for me. As long as the deltas are in my favor, if Nvidia continues to look weak, I'm definitely going to leave it alone. But here you see the 15-minute chart of Nvidia. And I'm watching to see when this downward momentum might change, because remember, deltas are going in my favor if the stock goes down, but they're going against me if the stock goes up. So I want to adjust the position, at least a short call option part of the position, if Nvidia looks like it might continue to go up. And that's why I have this roll order sitting out there right now on Nvidia. So as you see here, it's not always about just rolling or holding. The real answer to your question is, why are you considering rolling? Why are you considering holding? And is that the right decision? By considering all the factors I shared in this video, help you understand if it's the right time to roll or not. So here's my overall thoughts and kind of what's helped me make a decision on this position right now. If your poor man's cover call is deep in the money and momentum is strong, delta is not a factor, and Theta is still in your favor, then I would consider sticking with the position. However, if one of those factors are not in your favor, then at that point you want to dig deeper to see if it's the right decision and the right time to roll. If you'd like to get an alert whenever I buy stock or sell or roll options, check out the benefits of becoming a patron down at the link in the description below. Recently, a viewer here on YouTube asked me what I thought was a really good question. They asked, if poor man's cover calls are so good, why not do them on every position instead of ever using a cover call? If you'd like to see the answer to that question, check out the video at the link above and the description below entitled Poor Man's Cover Calls versus Cover Calls, Which is Better? Until next time, happy investing, and we'll see you again soon.